Hello, class of 359. Today, I will be talking about aspen trees. And so the reason why I chose to talk about trees in general is because of the Wood Wide Web. And I read this one book, which I would recommend to all of you. It is really, really interesting. And it talks about how forests and trees are a much more social creature than we thought. If one tree is dying, another one might give it excess glucose. If one tree is being attacked, it might send scents to other trees to give it a warning to protect itself. Thought this was so interesting. I also loved aspen trees, and aspen trees have a really integrated root system. So I just wanted to learn more about aspens. And the scientific name of aspens is the Populus tremuloides, or the quaking aspen. And the quaking aspen gets its name from the leaves that are on it. It's kind of, they're very nimble and they look like they quake in the wind. But it is pretty hardy because it is the most broadly distributed native tree species in North America. What's really cool about aspen trees is that the trunk is actually able to do photosynthesis. Most other deciduous trees are dormant during winter. It actually continuously produces glucose, which is really neat. They can grow up to 50 to 60 years old, on the upper end of 150 years old, but also tens of thousands of years, which I will go into a little bit. And we're going to be talking about tree sects and wildfires for this presentation. And I'll let you know why. So I wanted to talk about aspens, and what's really unique about them is their root suckering. So they kind of lay out their roots, and then from the root suckering actually grows the stems that turn into aspen trees. And these aspen trees are actually clones of the original Holy Grail aspen tree. And it has the same genetic code, sex, actually time that it changes color, which is why we see a whole aspen grove changing colors at one time. But not a lot of genetic diversity in there. But that gives rise to something really cool. And that really cool thing is pando, the biggest, also dying organism on Earth. It is 14 million pounds. It covers over 100 acres. It is 40 times bigger than a blue whale. It is ginormous, but it is also dying. As you can see in these satellite photos, it's actually shrinking. A lot of aspen trees are actually kind of dying off in North America. Scientists are kind of puzzled exactly to why. One study done in 2018 actually said that mule deer grazing has led to the shrinking of pando. Also, a lot of other reasons: climate change, agricultural, different soil and pollutants. There's a lot of reasons, but they're trying to solve it. And although it may be dying, it does have great regenerative properties. And what's really cool about aspens and why we kind of need them is because after a big wildfire, so like the ones we've been seeing recently, it's actually one of the first to regenerate that space. And actually, an aspen grove, once it senses a fire nearby, will actually release 50,000 to 100,000 more sucklings in its root system, trying to create another grove after a wildfire. So it is essential for new forests, and then once some time passes, kind of those more coniferous trees will grow taller, kind of cut out the sunlight for those aspens, and then they die and kind of recede back. So then this brings me to why seed-based, or the tree sex, is really important for aspens and is actually being really researched into, because they want to get more aspen trees into different spaces, especially after wildfires, because it kind of helps new forests. And the benefits of seed-based reproduction, even though it's not really talked about with aspens because everyone loves kind of its root suckering abilities, is that it increases genetic diversity. It allows for more hardiness against opponents in the wild. So a lot of research is actually going to seed-based reproduction and root suckering to help rehabilitate the aspen trees of North America, especially in the time when we're having so many wildfires. I also want to talk about, we talked about ethnobotany in class, so here's some medical uses. You can rub it on yourself. It has an SPF of 5. Just rub it on the bark like this, and you're good for like a very small period of time. It actually also has the same ingredient as aspirin. So it has salicin. So it is also an anti-inflammatory. I read some things on the internet that said you can chew the leaf, get rid of a headache. I don't know, do that at your own expense. But also Native American used pretty much every part of the aspen tree for a lot of different uses. And to close it all up, because this is a short presentation, don't do this. It hurts the tree, it's illegal in national forests, and it can lead to more infection. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you will appreciate your aspens and maybe give them one more hug for when you see them in our Colorado forests.